All right, hey everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. This is Jared Napolitano, marketing advocate for the PC. I'm going to be doing a stream today, live stream of the quarterfinal matchup between arebelspy and ketwol, aka Joe and Kieran. This is one of 4 quarterfinal matchups. None have been fully resolved yet, as I have the bracket up here. This is for the 7th annual GEMP Match Play Championship, also known as Batmouse's 7th GEMPC. So this started back in January, and we're getting to the point where we're going to narrow from 8 to 4. I'm just doing a little bit of a preview now because the table is now posted. Looks like Joe and Kieran are both in the chat, so this is going to fire any minute. But so good that we are ready to go and be flexible and join and stream. So thanks for joining. Whether you're doing this live or on a replay, thanks for watching. 2 really, really good players. So we'll jump into the chat. This is actually, I guess, a rematch of the 2020 World Championship Final, where Joe defeated Kieran. That was the one that was all online. We had, I think, 97 players was the final count. And as we see the starting cards revealed here, we have Thrawn versus the Pyre. I call it the Pyre. Oh no, take that back. It looks like it's going to be a communing deck. I guess this is going to be Luke, but not necessarily, because you can start different ones and kind of audible from your communing. You could do Yoda's Hut or the Pyre, or I guess even maybe the other one. So this is Obimunning. All right, so this should be fun. So Joe's going with, I think, the little bit more common, the code clearance start. I have seen some players, like I think MHT was playing the arrest order one and more ability 2 pilots. Kieran is starting I Must Be Allowed to Speak V, like my father before me, and Walkling. And Joe, again, with pretty standard start here for what I believe is considered like the prime Thrawn build here with Ender Shield V to upload Thrawn early, potentially someone else. Alert my Star Destroyer V to kind of match up, not kind of, to actually match up Chimera V with Thrawn. So Kieran pulls his grabber, pulls Goldenrod, nothing free. I guess for what exactly? Blizzard 4 to the outside? Someone in chat remind me. I am not at my peak game for sure, but so hopefully the chat can help me out here just to try to be on. I guess he's trying to preempt something free. Yeah, we'll talk about Obimunning, which was kind of like the distant third of the 3 communers, but recently got a helper in the preview subset of Virtual Set 21. But that seems to be floated more so. 1 or 2 copies, probably more 2 copies floated and eventually found and deployed. So we'll probably see I Can't Believe He's Gone V at some point. Pretty standard stuff here. Joe grabs Admiral Mahdi V. Keshik and Castle are out. Not Castle. Castle. First turn Thrawn here for a ridiculous 6 force. This is one of the criticisms I think of this deck, that for 6 force you get a power 12 Star Destroyer that is going to draw 2 Battle Destinies, immune less than 5, and you're instantly threatening a drain of 2 because of the direct damage from the artwork, art collection effect, and obviously from a drain here. So probably see battle planes. I probably have to pay for that 3, but let's see. Ho-Homino, Thrawn deck, Joe Watch Batmouse. Okay. Yeah, if anyone can, I'm kind of curious why Kieran pulled Goldenrod. Not that I'm positive it's necessarily a bad shield pull against Thrawn. So it looks like Kieran, I'm not sure if he uploaded that with my player card, Return of a Jedi V, but Obi-Wan's Hut V comes out. Cantina comes out. Which, of course, that was from Reserve Deck because of Master Kenobi, allows you to pull a Battleground. I see some fun stuff with this. I think I saw Kyle playing, you play Whisa's to pull Boss Nash Chamber, and then I think he had out like 3 or 4 different Naboo sites. So Joe grants a revert here for which side of Obi-Wan's Hut that Kieran wants to put the Moisture Farm, so that's granted. Try to do a giveaway here, especially if it gets grindy at some point, if the players are kind of really being deliberate at key points. Maybe we'll try to fill some dead air with some promotional stuff and give away some things. As Kieran puts out the sand card and stacks Master Luke V and Escape Pod combo, predictably Battle Plan comes out. The special AI for this event, let's see if this works. This is Chimera V. Every participant in the GEMPC this year is going to receive a copy of this. And there's actually digital versions which were given out, I think for the virtual set 19 release party, maybe the 20. Yeah, it was 19 when Thrawn first came onto the scene. This ketwol just draws up here. So thanks to Kevin Yap for printing these. Thanks to Christian and the graphics team for designing these. They're really cool. And I do have a couple extras, so maybe I'll give away one. But I have a feeling a lot of the people that are tuning in or who are also people that played in the event, so they already have a copy. So if we do a giveaway, I would do a exclude people from getting that. I think at one point people were playing 2 copies of Chimera, but I think it's more so evolved to just one, especially when you have super high forfeit Imperials. All right, so Kieran plays Weir's Han to pull Han Chewie Falcon V. We get the drain here, predictably from Joe. Kieran has to make a decision on what to lose. He's got 14 cards in hand. I think the trick here is you don't usually want to lose a 3 or 4 Destiny card because that's the most potent part of this. Opponent excludes their character from battle. So light side has to choose. And Kieran's just going to throw a 0, and that could potentially result in immunity attrition being canceled. So I think that combos in a really strong way with the 1 artwork card. I think it's Thrawn's Pincer, which adds 1 to total battle destiny for every card on there. So you stack a bunch of cards, then you can add 3, 4, 5, 6. I saw 7 added total battle destiny. I think Kuhn was playing the other day. I don't forget who he was playing against. Added 7 to total battle destiny, and that combined with your opponent having no immunity to attrition, pretty strong. You can really take out a lot of characters. All right, so Joe's just going to move Chimera over to Kashyyyk, and now it's going to be 3 damage that he's threatening. He's going to draw up to replenish his hand. The new 14 is the new 12, as they say, with the new shields that came out in set 20 that, prevent your opponent from more easily drawing 20, 21 cards, as some people do. But it prevents that, but it also, in a way, encourages people to go up to 14 instead of stopping at 12. All right, so Kieran's going to put Master Luke out to the Cantina, gets a use pile pull here. Predictably, or I guess the anticipation, I should say, is going to be a drain of 3 here with the lightsaber. Luke's saber from reserve. If Kieran has him there, it's a chance it's stuck in the bottom of his force pile. Leia Rebel Princess comes out. She, of course, can cancel drains if Darkseid goes to Tatooine, but this is a deck that probably has Tarkin's Bounty V, which prevents Leia from canceling where you have an Imperial. All right, so there's Luke's saber. Something I think people still forget often, that all these commuting sites, no force drains here, so neither side can drain there. Obi-Wan's Journal, that helps protect Luke. I wonder how much utility that's going to have in this game. It's probably not a lot of weapons, maybe like an EPP Mara or an EPP Vader. Cards present, but it also is going to protect his lightsaber force drain modifiers, which I think the ruling is that even gets around like Imperial Decree, bonuses being ignored or canceled. I think bonuses or modifiers, someone in the chat maybe or might be able to correct me there, but Kieran now is set up to also force through 3 damage. They have the same amount of cards in hand, but Lightside has several more cards out on the table, including all right, and so Kieran loses off the top. This is Unita, which is that, we'll say, dreaded 3 or 4, which can cause the most disruption, I'll say. All right, Kieran loses Luke's lightsaber from hand and Fall the Legend V off the top. Cool thing about Master Luke is he can deploy a lightsaber from reserve or from lost pile once per game. So if he dies, if he needs his lightsaber or he loses his lightsaber somehow, like if he gets lost and then gets Old Ben or the new Helper effect, which does the revival, he can then instantly pull back the lightsaber on Lightside's turn. All right, so Joe now flips because he has 2 or more, as is the condition. If any deploy phase, thrown on a battleground site, and 2 artwork cards on table. Thrawn's pretty interesting because when it first came out, I think people thought it was weak. It got a couple tweaks. I think it's had 2 rounds of tweaks now. with the system now adjusting it downward. But then I got a couple buffs back, I think when 20 was released, when there was a lot of errata that came out that was like tweak set 2. So it bumped it up. But I feel like Thrawn and 0 Hour more than... I feel like they both had 2 rounds of edits so far in a very short time frame. They came out in the summer. They've already been through several iterations. So just an interesting progression. I don't know if this is just a one-off exception and kind of this ping-ponging back and forth of bump it up, bump it down. I think usually a lot of decks get bumped up and they get bumped down, and then that's pretty much it for a little while. Although we do have some decks like ROPS and Old Allies that seem to just be around and just kind of evolve slightly over time. All right, so Avenger V comes out now to Lothal with no pilot, but it can deploy a captain or Imperial with armor from reserve deck, which I think is some flavor text for Marvel Avengers, if I understand correctly some of the discussion here. So because it doesn't make a ton of sense gameplay wise, like if you're going to put a stormtrooper garrison up in space, there's not a lot of, I don't think there's any pilots per se who have armor. That would be a fun trivia question of what Imperials have armor. I know the Stormtrooper Garrison's one, and probably the Stormtrooper Patrols. I don't know if there's any others. Maybe the chat can tell me, and maybe I'll give away a GEMP AI Series 3 or 4 pack. Got my notepad here. So if anyone can name Imperials with armor besides the 2 Stormtroopers. All right, Admiral Mahdi comes out. He's 3, but now he's going to bump the power here. Gets the +2 bonus from Admiral Mahdi's text. Unless Senate on table. Maybe that was a thing at some point in Legacy, Senate and Star Destroyers. Bumps the immunity. So all your unique Star Destroyers. So now this is immune less than what, 6? This is immune less than nothing because it doesn't have any. But if the Admiral's Order comes out, we'll see that. So here's Kieran's 3rd turn. Let's see if anyone in the chat entertain me now. With Imperials with armor. Everyone's probably furiously searching Scomp Access. Senate already has a senator adds to. Okay, that's the preventing the stacking there. Thank you, James. I don't know much. I don't know nearly as much as most people about Senate and senators and the like. All right, so Kieran's still game's control phase. Presumably he's going to put some damage through here again. So just to remind everyone, if you're new or you haven't been watching, this is a match, so it's 2 games. Differential is going to matter. So whoever wins the first game, let's say they win by 10, the opponent would have to win the next game by 11, with the tiebreaker about lost piles in case it's a +10, -10 situation. But odds are it's going to not be a tiebreaker. So that comes Han Chewie and the Falcon, Leia's Resistance Transport, which is going to download Rey, probably. And interesting that he didn't drain. So Kieran, I guess, really planned out this turn, but yeah, he has battle plan out. So it sounds like he really wants to optimize this turn. And if he's doing this, he's probably going to be looking to completely kick out. Oh, wow. So Kieran whiffed on the download on Leia's Resistance Transport, which I think he was doing that blind because he didn't do any type of verify, it looks like. And I don't think there was a way he would have known exactly the 4 cards in his reserve deck. All right, so there's the helper card. Can't believe it's gone. He's gone. Any battle, once per battle, activate 1 or add 1 to a destiny, which is strong. It's strong, but Obimunning doesn't have a lot going for it in that its character pool is very limited. You can't play any Jedi, you can't play EPP cards, or you can play Yoda. So right there, it's kind of playing one arm behind its back. It loses a lot of strong characters in a deck that's, typically mainsy, where you can't play, Qui-Gon or Mace or Obi-Wans or Jedi Lukes. All right, so here comes Rey from hand. All right, so maybe, Kieran anticipated doing that. And now he's got 3 Force left to work with. Hera's out there. He's going to get a Power Destiny, 2 Battle Destiny. We probably should expect Joe with a 12-card hand to have an Imperial Command. This is where I am. That Rebel flight suit is such a strong card. Yes, Greg, this is game 1, and I should update the description to say that as I accidentally move it. That's one of my things that I always always jumps out. Let's do game 1. All right, Strike Force. So that is a way to get a ship back if he needs to. Also, obviously, another grabber. And we got a battle here. So this will be fun. Of course, these Imperials are getting forfeit. Both of them are forfeit +3 because of code clearance. So we have 8 and 8. Presumably, Kieran would need to get up to, what, like 15 naturally in Battle Destiny, which he's not going to be able to do. So I guess best case scenario here, he gets rid of both pilots, and he's probably going to lose something because the resistance transport has no immunity, right? Yeah, so lose some stuff. He's got 2 force, in case something wild happens, he can run away if need be. But let's see. Sorry, I'll check on the chat if I missed anything. Here comes a command to limit. Yep, all right, so definitely not going to be drawing 15 total Battle Destiny to then add 1 to each and get to 17 and kill both pilots. That is not going to be happening. Is this game 1, Death Trooper? Oh, Death Trooper. All right, thanks, Garrett. Got it? Okay, get a prize for Garrett for answering my trivia. GEMPC. All right, so command gets grabbed, right? Yeah, command gets grabbed. Is watching U.S. Nationals. Yeah. I'm actually preparing the U.S. Nationals prize box right now. I have everyone's Ziploc goodie bags all prepped. I just need to fit everything into one box now. So thanks to everyone who pre-registered. Tried to include as many things as possible that people earned. As Ketwol draws a 5 for the Power Destiny. That's another thing I guess he has going for him. He could just try to make Joe lose both Imperials via just battle damage, because he's going to get the +2 effectively to his Battle Destiny with Rey and the objective. Or not the objective, the helper card. And he's already up 9. Wow, it draws a 7. Okay. So he maybe when he went to deploy the resistance transport and whiffed, he saw maybe it was all 5s and a 7, or maybe like a run Luke run as well. So hence the attack here. So he's going to get a total battle destiny of 9, which is going to kill both pilots for sure. And they'll cover. So they'll cover the 14 battle damage, and then Kieran's going to lose somebody. And then Joe might be able to pair up another Star Destroyer pilot combo like Thunder Flare and Courage EV. Might have some more pilots in his hand, like Palaeon, or who else does this deck usually play? So it seemed like it went really well for Kieran, but it might. Now we have Lost in Space to revive Mahdi. This card's ridiculous. So a whole turn from Kieran there, and all he did really was he forced Lost in Space to be used, and he killed. Wait a minute, where did so Mahdi's stack there. What was the other guy? Where's Nita? Oh, Nita goes out of play, that's right. All out of play. Your total battle listings where you have an Imperial Captain. If just lost place out of play. Alright, so I don't know, in retrospect, hindsight's 2020. I don't know if I would have maybe just been better betting 3 to drain, just trying to force through damage, especially in a differential match. But Kieran's a better player than me. Maybe he's got a longer view of this game, and definitely establishing in space is good. But so he doesn't have to pay for the drains the rest of the game. But yeah, some of these Thrawn decks might play all the kind of the wacky space jank, we'll say, like Gravity Shadow and lateral damage, all fun stuff. This card's so weird. It's been errata. It's 6 lines on an immediate effect, which used to happen, I guess, in Legacy, but it's basically this because it has to explain all these things that it does. And it rescues it, and lost a pilot here, and then maybe rescued or captured by a capital starship present during any move phase. So Lightside cannot capture ever. And so, why did that happen? I should get more familiar with this card. Pilot just lost a point in that location. Why couldn't... I guess rescued would imply that you're rescuing your own character. So light side can't rescue. What's his name? Mahdi. So that makes that. And then light side can't capture, so they can't. Whereas, I guess dark side could capture a light side character that was forfeited. Yeah, I haven't seen that too much. All right, so we have Drain Akashic. Kieran loses dodge from reserve, so now he's got 2 of those 3/4 destinies on the effect, which, if Joe wants to attack, which doesn't look like he's going to, maybe. Kessel has the deploy -1. He could probably piece something together here, but he could exclude Ray, for example, because it's the only character. And then also Kieran loses Clash, which, that's probably not coming in handy this game. With not many characters on the ground, probably. Most of the characters in this Thrawn deck are either going to be piloting a Star Destroyer or a Walker on the ground, and then Return of the Jedi gets tossed from hand after it's kind of served its purpose of pulling the hut. And Obi-Wan's Journal's out. This is my card. Yay. And the fun fact about this was in the development, like before even Communing was on the map. So when it came out, it kind of incidentally crossed up, and I supported Master Kenobi, but it still wasn't that powerful. I like playing it in Java for a while, but I think some people thought this card might have been overpowered. But it's a lost 3 to add the Destiny, and there's some. I just want to try to get it into my Prophet deck, but I don't like the fact that this is an exterior and outside of Communing. It becomes a liability, and also Whis is just has better secondary functions in Prophet, and less of a liability. I guess Boston Ash Chambers is a liability too because it's out by itself in Prophet, but it's not like this is much better. All right, so Ozzel comes out here. The bridge is out for Joe. He's activating 16. Vengeance with Ozzel for a mere 6 force, which means that you can deploy another Star Destroyer here for 5 force, maybe even less. Oh no, this is Ozzel V. Admiral Ozzel non-V, of course, subtracts 1 from capital deploys. So he's just going right in front of Light's characters there. Does anyone lose? Yeah, Spice Mines of Kessel had it. I think Tom Haid used that at one point. And we got I've lost R2. Okay, so that's some tech to knock out the nav computer, which means that you have to draw up greater than 2, right? Or greater than 1. Wow. So that's a whiff unless he has like a Sith Fury. Wow. So that's like a wasted card for Joe, right? Yeah, it fails. Otherwise, it would knock it out, so then he can't run away. Causes R2 to be lost. There's another card that's just weird and had to get eroded to kind of clarify what the heck it was intended to do. So definitely one of those premier cards that are getting eroded. All right, so Chimera goes to Kessel to reinforce. So this kind of, I don't know, does this favor light side? If just keep running around, not free damage, because he's going to satisfy battle plan. Dark's going to have to pay to drain, but then Dark can do 3 total. Eventually, Dark's probably going to get resistance out if it needs to. It probably will. The 3 systems might go to the ground at some point, probably over here, or could go to the farm. Could go to either location. All right, so that was not great for Joe. It looks like Joe is up 4 cards face down and 5 cards in hand, so a total of 9. So we'll see kind of how this keeps progressing. Now Kieran's going to get the drain of 3 through with not needing to pay for it for battle plan. Joe pulls secret plans. Yoda, Master of the Force, to the exterior side here. might just move him inside. This thing can become a liability with drain to 2. Cool thing about him, he could like teleport if he needs to go over here to the moisture farm episode 1 location. See if Yoda's going to stay there. And that actually gives me an opportunity, because the large moisture farm, that is the AI for US Nationals. So let me make this a little bit bigger. So that's really cool. Well, upside down. So that's the AI that's going to be used for all, I think everyone, not just pre-registered players, but everyone who participates in the US Nationals main event. Yeah, again, more great artwork, another great job by the graphics team. All right, so yeah, Yoda moves inside, and now Kieran is threatening, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage, which of course is going to be capped in some way, I'm sure, by Joe on this turn. Kieran uses the community text, and the community text is so great with like Ray. You can peek, move to the bottom, draw it. I have seen several of these builds that also run 3PO, so you can get 3PO can kind of manipulate cards, and like my father is putting cards onto your force pile, so there's a bunch of different deck manipulation things that combo up with communing that can help you get cards where you want them to be, find cards to draw into them. Alright, C slips are not the best slips. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I agree, Reckless Charlie. The location C slips are the worst. The worst. Especially on locations. Or systems, rather. Systems are even worse than sites. Alright, so Ketwol's got to throw a card on Art Collection. He gives up the 5 this time, which would be the power bonus. There's a little stretch there where the non-V moisture farm had to be used, I think, with He is the Chosen One, because you couldn't deploy episode 1 locations, which here's the icon. But that site's so bad. Darkseid adds 1 to their weapon destinies there, and it's a drain of 2 always, not just if Vader or a trooper here. The EP1 version, you'd always want to play that, basically. All right, here's Blizzard 8. Palayon comes out. This guy is immune less than 4, draws Battle Destiny on its own. And now Joe is going to satisfy Battle Plan unless Kieran can disrupt him. The other thing that might work well, again with the deck manipulation, going back to that, is if Thrawn is so popular, I've been fitting Collision into a few decks, so you can kind of track around to 1, especially if you got some mains like Master Luke or Rey, extra copies of them, and Anakin. It's a much easier way to eliminate a Star Destroyer and a pilot or 2 than actually trying to battle through it. So I wonder if that card becomes a little more popular. I don't know if there's many cancelers for it, really. I wonder if a dark time for the rebellion, does that add 1 at any time or subtract 1, or is it just during battle? I think it's any time. All right, so Joe's going to move his characters around. He's going to shuttle Mahdi down. Avengers by itself over here at Lothal. Chimera is in front of the 2 light side ships. And we'll see how this progresses. But this game's a pretty good pace to this game. So I know they said, I think it depends, I think was what the phrase they used. Depends, they're probably playing game 2. But we'll see, I guess, how if this ends up taking a while. Maybe they delay game 2 to another day to kind of recoup and maybe have some commitments lined up after this. But we'll see. Right, so both players generating 16, 9 to 8 cards in hand, favors Joe. He also has 6 more cards face down. At some point, he's probably going to want to maybe move Leia out. Or now that Resistance is out, maybe Luke goes outside, but he's a little vulnerable. He's only immune less than 4. We saw General Veer's V already drawn, so there's probably that. Him and a Blizzard 1V, or even a Blizzard 2V. So this moisture farm being an exterior site. Maybe like really late game. Maybe he moves Leia or Luke outside. Probably Luke, because then he can get 2 drains at 2 through and not worry about resistance capping. But we'll see how that goes. Kieran activates. Gonna get through drains of 2 and 2 here, unless like Tarkin's orders. But I think, what does this say? So, is this the old Lethal? Is this image wrong? No, this is right. This is the new one that was just erotic. All right, accelerate and image V 2, 5, 6. Lots of high destiny cards. Tarkin's ban. Wow, 3 5s and a 6 off the top from Joe, and then he drew the 1 on the I've Lost R2. All right, so opponent may not reduce. So if Yoda was here, Darkseid cannot play Tarkin's orders to cancel the drain here. I think this was recently changed. Was that changed in V20? Or has it always been like that? I don't know. Someone could remind me. All these really cool Thrawn sites were all part of the printouts for the donations package, which just ended yesterday. Awesome record turnouts. Thank you to everyone who donated. But yeah, these, I think the Lethal is going to be pre-errata because that just happened like, what, a couple weeks ago? 10 days ago, maybe. But yeah, anyone tier 2 and up donors got like V19, V20, updated images, errata cards, and a bunch of AIs that just came off their exclusivity periods. So I think it's 17 pages. We did a V kit, which really saves a lot of extra sheets because like the actual PDFs are nice and they have like logos and stuff like that. But if you're just looking to get the most amount of slips on a page, V kit's the way to go. Yeah, so I guess Kieran thinks here after Joe lost 4 Force. Yeah, I actually have Dan's donation package on the floor here. I'm waiting for the sticker book packs because you have like a lot of them. So hopefully I get them from Kevin the next week or two, and then I'll ship everything out. But just trying not to do 2 shipments. So yeah. All right, Anakin goes up in space as Lando goes at the site. Kieran activated everything that turn. He's got handle there in the lost pile. But that's probably, yeah. Was that, when did he lose that card? Last turn? All right, so he runs away. This is where I'd be like afraid of like a gravity shadow. But wouldn't be the end of the world, especially against like a lone Avenger. But Kieran's plan is probably just survive in space and keep pumping through these drains through. But I think this is just like a strictly like cat and mouse race for the rest of this game. That probably favors Joe, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Because he's up slightly and they're about even. Yeah, he's up very slightly and he's about to do his round of damage next. So I think that favors Joe. But of course, Kieran has Walkling Retrieval. He could possibly retrieve with Lando here, get a couple cards back. He's got 2 cards stacked on sand. He has Strike Force, so if he did lose one of these ships, he then could basically funnel that card back in the reserve deck. So lots of different things here too. And this is where you get really, really strong players. They can identify all these little ways to find a card here, find a card there for differential. Because in my experience, you get in that game too, and you're thinking, I wish I had another card or 2. Yeah, poor Batmouse. Not to pick on him. I shouldn't say poor Batmouse, but to pick on Batmouse a little bit. Yeah, I think Kieran's seeding was probably the biggest mistake, which Batmouse would probably say it too. I think he's like the 57th, 59th seed. I mean, it just stood out like a sore thumb. The thing with Kieran is that he was runner-up in 2020. He's not the most active player. I feel like he plays a lot of casual games, to be honest. He doesn't really do OCS. So, but I think some players just, once you kind of accomplish something, I think you kind of prove that, I don't think you should have been 57. Like, you might be able to say, okay, he doesn't seem like the most active right now, maybe in the 30s, 40s, something like that. There are a lot of good players. But that one was not ideal. All right, so Joe asked for a revert, and I think Joe asked for it, right? Let's see. Sorry, can I play something here? Draw phase. Yeah, so Joe burnt a command, spent the 2 force, uploaded Veers. Okay, all right, so it was worth, I guess, burning the command there. Kieran stacks the second copy of I Can't Believe He's Gone, which is another 5. So that's the power clause here. If you reveal a 5, add 3 to your total power. So are Veers and a Walker going down to the farm or going here to try to beat up on Lando? In which case, if it is Lando, he's probably going to need a Gick. Or not Gick, a Hujix. Another, card thrown to the lost pile from the reserve deck, Blaster Deflection. That's probably not going to be very helpful in this matchup. More helpful if he's fighting against mains. We'll see what happens here. So Joe's at 18, Kieran's at 13, face down. Joe's got 3 more cards in hand. He just dealt his round of damage. If everyone, any big college basketball fans, probably maybe dual TV, especially if they're working from home, watching the basketball tournament, tuning in here. What's going on? Good month. Good fun second half of the month here with all the basketball games and NBA going on. Baseball getting started. All right. Looks like Joe goes to deploy a battleground system for reserve deck, but whiffs, so they both know what the 2 cards are. So that's for remainder of game. Once per turn, you can deploy. So even when you flip, I don't like that. There's some objectives that do that and some don't. That once you flip, like Hunt Down V, once you flip, you lose the ability to deploy another site, which I feel like often you want to get Vader out quickly. In my experience, I usually get one site out, and then the second turn I'm either flipped or I whiff on the download, and then I have this 0 floating around, which then maybe is the argument for you just play like the Mustafar and the starting effect as your second, I guess, battleground location, or you do like the Sonic Bombardment V package with Downtown Plaza and the security tower. All right, so Tarkin here, he uploaded Veers. If he puts Veers with him, and he puts Piet with him. All right, so a couple Imperial numpties here fighting against a Jedi. And then there's Veers aboard Blizzard A's passenger, so new phase. I guess maybe he's going to battle Lando, and then maybe just toss Mahdi, and then slide Veers over to the pilot seat after that. Assuming... Oh, no. Oh, you did that in your deploy phase. My bad. Shout out to the Sixers. Yeah, Embiid. He's locking up the MVP. Just 0 question at this point. Nuggets are collapsing. They just keep winning. Play that song. Oh. Okay, yeah, so maybe we'll tune into that too. I can toggle back next time there's a slow moment, but we'll look at I was going to do that at the beginning, but they were ready to start pretty much right after I started. The other top 8 matchups. I know Charlie and Tom played several days ago. Last weekend it was, a Saturday. I think Tom won the first game. I don't know if they still determined that, whether it was like 11 or 12, because there was a weird interaction with the timeout. Maybe if someone knows, I don't know who's, I guess Batmouse is ultimately in charge, or show. But here we have the battle here against Yoda. But that's the one, and then Greg and teammate Kessling are playing. He reveals the 5 to get the power bonus. And then the other one's Connor versus Batmouse would be the 4th of the quarterfinals. I think that's all 4. 2 SoCal players. So 2 SoCal players are playing each other. 2 new Allies players are playing each other. Then we have this matchup, and then we have Charlie against Tom. All right, so Ketwol is going to grab a card off Sand. So now he can't add with the effect, but that prevents Tarkin from drawing a second Battle Destiny. So yeah, obviously a good play there. Let's see what happens here. I wonder if we get into a spot where Kieran might be peeling a couple and then try to counter beat one of the guys who are left, or the one of the 2 that doesn't survive the attrition. But then if Joe battles on the other site and and Kieran draws a 4 or higher, one of those guys have to die. So then he can't really move anybody inside to reinforce against Yoda. So this will be interesting. All right, so Kieran uploads Hujix, which he might not even need, I guess. I guess Veers gets, he might need it for the Lando battle. But if Joe's battling here first, he's not going to be able to draw 2 Destiny with General Veers, right? All right, so he draws a 4. So we'll see what Kieran draws. And then this will be a decision point of if he just loses Yoda, who's fully immune, or if he peels. And that was, I guess, somewhat of a decision for Joe of, does he reveal the 0 to kill Yoda's immunity, or does he do the 5 to get 3 power? It's kind of the game within the game. Let's see what Kieran does here. I wonder if he probably peels. Oh, he loses Yoda. Because I feel like he'd be pretty well off if he peels. He's getting low, but then he's probably going to be able to get that Drain of 2 through, like, most of the game, right? Or no, I guess with the 3 and 4 here, he's going to be able to exclude him. Yeah, so that's probably a good play by Kieran, not to... That would be like throwing, bad money after good, I guess, because he's not going to be able to win this fight, it seems like. Because Joe holds the cards here. He can do the 0 to get rid of the immunity for Yoda and then just draw and kill Yoda. Or he could reveal 3 and just exclude him, which I think Taco Bill's mentioned that a few times, that's pretty unfair when it excludes their only character and in effect just cancels the battle. That's a really strong mechanic. Yeah, so that was one thing I think that was found in playtesting with Return of a Jedi, which I should pull it up, but you can't play it, or you can't add a Destiny. I don't think you can play the card at all, actually, if you have a Jedi Master communing. Because I think it was risky to allow that card to be played in Qui-Gon communing or Yoda communing, because then you're pulling another Twix that potentially can't be drained at. And I think the activation ratio can get real wonky. So that's where that clause was added. But yeah, now Return of a Jedi V is now turned off. All right, so Joe's going to move Tarkin outside. Mahdi's going to disembark and fly up to space. Or maybe he's going to reconfigure these pods. Lots of move phase actions here. Lando versus Veers, Tarkin, and Blizzard 8, which would be 2 Battle Destiny, but of course Kieran could cap with Sand. I think a lot of good plays in this game. I haven't seen, not that I am one to opine on what they're doing, but it doesn't seem like there's been anything that's been like weird. And they've both been playing at a pretty good pace, which is good too. All right, so Joe's not going to transfer any pilots over to Avenger. Maybe he's afraid of collision. So if Kieran plays collision, he just loses Avenger and doesn't, lose an extra pilot or 2. But you never know. Maybe there was a verify somewhere. Maybe Joe saw it. So, but right now, Kieran's going to get through 2 damage. Resistance is still satisfied. Yeah, we seriously got to get an answer on that. I mean, maybe it is already determined, but I don't think it's been announced anywhere. Did Charlie lose? I'm pretty sure Tom won, right? Did Tom win by 11 or by 12? Because I think he was in the midst of retrieving a card as Charlie timed out. So we'll see about that. All right, so I shouldn't say that. We'll see how this ends up. So Kieran's at 14, so he's down 3, but he's up 2 in hand. So he's actually only down 1 in the aggregate. I don't think the board position's like overwhelming either way. Like now, maybe Kieran can play this game of moving Lando inside, forcing Joe to react to that. If he goes and tries to fight Lando gets a card back. He's probably not going to stick around too long. But, with all this big blue Star Destroyers and Walkers, there's probably not a ton of characters, especially when the characters are mostly all forfeit +3. So you might get to a point where Ketwol is in a position to kind of outspread Joe and get on more locations and just kind of chip away and maybe have an advantage late game. We'll see. All right, so Jyn goes here. This will be a drain of 1 because there's no Jedi here. But she gets deployed, not undercover, so he doesn't even have to do that. Deploy and then break. There's no point. So Charlie doesn't even know. All right. Yeah. Dan, reach out to Batmouse and tell him to maybe talk with Show or make a decision himself on what that situation is with the timer and card. Because, like I was saying before, some of these match play games, like every card could matter. All right, so Kieran runs away to Kessel and draws. And now Joe's got a drain. It looks like 1. He'll get the direct damage through. And 1 on the ground, right? This isn't getting bumped by anything. Yeah. But yeah, either way, this will be pretty close. Has to going to be single digits, right? Like I don't see many ways that Dark gets cards back in this game. But Light could possibly, if they lose a starship, Kieran could then punt this to retrieve it. He could, if there's another battle, grab this card, which he can, at the very least, throw it away to a drain. He already used his Walkling. I must have been yapping and didn't see when he did that. Looks like Tarkin Bounty was lost, so if Joe tries to go to the Moisture Farm for a place to drain, Leia can just cancel that. Let's see, what else? I think that's about it. Ray's up here. So Ray's probably doing lots of work with Kieran doing the peek with communing, gradually trying to move his cards around to find what he key cards with the whole peek Ray thing. All right, so Joe's going to drain for 1, causes a stack. I wonder at this point, like, if Joe's making a decision of, like, do I want to try to chip away through Kieran's space fleet here? Like, initiate battle, reveal 3. Oh, wait, you reveal... Oh, yeah, even if you initiate your own battle, but you need a leader. Of course, Oswald's a leader. So you can initiate battle here, maybe exclude, like, Anakin, force Kieran to either get rid of Rey or Han Chewie Falcon. But then he could, like, strike force, retrieve Han Chewie Falcon, move it around, activate, do communing, move to the bottom, draw it. He could get it back pretty quickly, but of course, he only has 11 cards face down as well, so resources are going to get pretty tight here at the end, but it's a matter of, this is where tough decisions get made. At the very least, to try to either players maximize differential. I feel like this can still go either way. Like Joe probably needs to figure out something to deal with this, with Lando drawing for 2, or draining for 2 rather. Jin and Luke and Leia draining. Maybe Kieran moves Leia out this next turn, or moves Luke out this next turn. At some point, he's probably going to be figuring that most of Joe's nouns are on the table. All right, wow. So he deploys Stalker and then just moves Chimera and ship docks. See if he... so he'll be able to follow. Maybe he's going to put everybody on Stalker so that he can then follow the ships. No, he just puts 1 character on there. Huh, that'd be interesting. Because then there might be a way, right? Because this only allows the actual ship. It doesn't allow another one may follow. Okay, no, he should reship docks. Okay, so that's what he's going to do. So maybe he puts all the pilots on the 1 on Stalker. Okay, yep. 1, Mahdi goes over, Pelayon goes over, Thrawn goes over. So all 4 pilots with, like, infinite forfeit, basically, are at Kessel. Tarkin gets out. He's probably going to move in to block the drain. Kieran's going to be able to peek at 2 because he's got 2 Jedi out of play, or two communing Jedi, I should say. All right, so Tarkin moves inside. And he draws a card. Yeah, so just real quick while he's drawing, yeah, so just we see here's Joe and Kieran playing up here. That's one quarterfinal. Kessling and Shaw, who are the overall 4 and 5 seeds. Stubley and Batmouse, who are, I guess, what is that, like a 4 seed and a 7 seed, or a 6 seed. And then Charlie and Tom. Charlie knocked me out. Tom probably, I think both these players probably underseed. They're both better than me. Going back to Batmouse seeding, he should have had me lower. I have not been as active or as sharp as I was like a year or two ago. All right, so Kieran's going to activate all but one. Push through, presumably 3 damage here. This will get interesting. Yeah, so he loses Blizzard 1 from hand, which would probably be the most potent way to, threaten at the farm. But he's not going to do that just to drain, because Leia will cancel 2 turns out. And yeah, resources are getting tight, so you'd have to deploy a Blizzard 1, deploy a pilot, maybe even 2 pilots, because it doesn't have a permanent. So I wonder at what point does Kieran move somebody outside here? I know I've been kind of beating a dead horse here, but really late game when he's probably safe to do that. Oh, so Decree comes off the top. That actually probably wouldn't have done anything in this game, because I don't think, did Kieran get the drain of 3 through maybe once, and then ever since then Joe's been satisfying resistance. And he loses the other Decree, so Decree V. And now we're probably about to enter Kieran's deploy phase. All right, Padme to reinforce on the transport. Fodder, yeah, I mean, pretty clearly Kieran's taking the approach, which is smart. Do whatever possible to stay in space to make sure he doesn't have to pay for drains, so even if he's got to throw some forfeit fodder up there, but not the worst person to have up there, because push comes to shove, there's a battle. Maybe he does exclude Rey. He gets the Attrition Destiny. Anakin's going to add 1. The effect will add 1. I can't believe he's gone. He's going to get the Power Destiny from Han Chewie the Falcon. This is where, like, Gravity Shadow would be backbreaking. I wonder to what extent we'll see Gravity Shadow at U.S. Nationals, and to what extent we'll see they're tracking us. V, which will cancel it. Kieran moves outside with Lando to block that drain of 1. Ooh, that's a good point. As I see perimeter scan V and Kieran wolf pile. Joe might be holding a trample. Just get rid of Lando real quick. Kieran's already used his grabber. Alright, so Han Chewie the Falcon goes to Lothal. Probably Joe wants to wait here, right? Because... Or maybe he has to follow to protect, because Han Chewie the Falcon would knock Avenger out. Yeah, so Joe's probably thinking here, do I follow Han Chewie Falcon, or do I just wait and then follow the transport? But then the transport could potentially go to Kashyyyk. And then Joe might be in a position to run away. And if he follows to Lothal, he's not going to be able to drain on his turn, which is going to take away that direct damage ping from Thrawn's Arc Collection. We know he has a Hujix. I don't think he ended up using it, right? So I think one of Kieran's 5 cards in his hand. All right, so yes, so Joe passes on the follow. Now he's going to follow with Stalker. Spends the Force. I would bet that Joe's going to he's going to have to battle on this turn, right? He'd have to pay 3 for any command, which I guess he wouldn't need it to limit, because he's only getting 1. He would get an Attrition Destiny, a Battle Destiny, Kieran that is. All right, then Kieran's going to use his Communing Peak during his move phase still. Thanks for being awesome and gifting subs. Yes, thank you, Dan. Thank you for gifting subs. Okay, and then he uses Like My Father, which is like pseudo activation, or put back a high destiny card that he's probably not going to need. All just a quick plug. Hopefully you're following the PC on the Twitch, twitch.tv/swccgpc. Probably how you're watching this right now. Be sure to follow, but also consider subscribing. PC gets some kickback that way, and we give out prizes, foils, and poker chips, and exclusive AI slips. We now have 2. I should have grabbed that too. The Jedi Temple, Coruscant Jedi Temple. I actually saw that used. It's a great image. But I saw it played in Silver Glen's Coruscant Careful Planning V in the OCS last month. That was the first time I've seen it played. It's just kind of a 2-0 without any puller, so it's you either probably got to start it, or you can't really. Nowadays, there's not many floating cards. All right, so as eventually anticipated, Leia moves outside to the moisture farm. But so that's interesting. So Luke probably would have been better, right, to move out, because then he could do 2 and 2. But he doesn't want to lose Luke. But at the same time, like, does it really matter which one you lose, because they're both draining for 2? Like, if you at this point, it's either you're indifferent to which one gets lost, or neither of them are going to get lost, right? So it's probably better to threaten. Yeah. Thank you, Garrett. They are. I forget their phrase. I can pull it up. I think there was a maybe to game 2. So again, so this is game 1 of 2. All right, Joe activates streaming. Where's what Joe does here? Yeah, the phrase was possibly 2. So I guess I would consider that a 50-50 chance. Not that this game has been super fast, but it's also not super slow. Looks like we're coming up on about an hour. Joe gets through the drain at 2 at Kashyyyk with the Lone Vengeance. It's interesting. I guess all in all, Kieran's been putting more cards on the table, or maybe Joe just had more of a head start. It's like these 5 cards over here, I guess, is that stack. Like and actually that kind of favors, in case, like we talked about earlier about tiebreakers, with Light putting all these cards over here instead of a lost pile, that could actually help Light side in case there was a +11, -11 situation. Yeah, I've seen the Mos Eisley is kind of tempting. I've seen some of these Obimunning builds with like the Tatooine system, which I think is a little more of a liability than Mos Eisley, to be honest. I mean, Mos Eisley, you're outside, you have walkers, exposure, that's not great, but with the system, with Thrawn and ROPS being, although neither of them, they can't get through the system game text, which prevents Dark from drawing more than 1 with like an Imperial heavy deck. So yeah, there's cases for both, I guess. But the shuffle's pretty sweet. Wow, we got another pilot. So now this thing has 5 pilots. With so much forfeit. Piet was only 2. How did he... okay, Sith Fury to get him back. So Joe really wanted Piet back. Interesting. I guess as the approach here, Joe's just like, I'm just going to chip away at this space fleet from Kieran. And he's just going to have all these huge forfeit Imperials because he's got to defend against a Battle Destiny that's going to be +2 and an Attrition Destiny. Pretty good combo to get around, even if Joe had a command, which maybe he does, and maybe he could play it, but he doesn't need it for here because Light's only drawing 1 Destiny. All right, so we'll see what card Joe reveals. So he does the 4, so Ketwol's going to have to, or predictably probably going to exclude Rey. But then he could get the Attrition Destiny, but then he's going to have to lose one of them probably. Or like we talked about, I know it would be tough to do it now because he doesn't have a force. He can't sack Strike Force, pay the 1 for Secret Plans, and then get Hound Chewie Falcon back on his turn because he won't be able to retrieve. Or he could activate 1 Force during the battle, lose Han Chewie Falcon, punch Strike Force, get Han Chewie Falcon back, and basically have Han Chewie Falcon out. And maybe, does he have enough kind of force to do all this? And then basically kick out Vengeance. And then still run away? I mean, that would be a lot to do. He might have just enough force. All right, so he's going to grab Master Luke, so he's going to lose the Anakin +1. And maybe he will do the activate then, because he's definitely not going to be doing the add. It won't do anything to add to a draw. Ooh, he draws a 7. This deck lends itself to you play the relatively unprotected, you play the Bionic Hand, maybe 2, or run Luke Run or 2. So you can really get it up there with Lando adding a Destiny, Anakin. Ooh, Prince Shizor out of left field. That's interesting. I saw him in one other deck that I was surprised about. But so that's only 2, and another 7 for Ketwol. Wow, for the Battle Destiny. That was just jeez. Wow, so he's not even gonna get the ping, because if you win a battle at Thrawn's location, it would be the ping. But wow, just enough. Wow, that's impressive. Ketwol wins the battle by 1 force, evades the ping. I mean, Joe just has to lose 1 Imperial. But everything's immune here. Why is this immune? Oh, geez. It's the Admiral's Order. Oh, wow. No ping. Yeah, and of course, Vengeance. Well, Vengeance is at the other system, Bill. But, yeah. Wow. So this actually helped Kieran lose nothing, because each capital starship. Wow. I wonder if it was worth it. What has he got? What has Joe gotten out of this? Did he get a ping from this? No, right? It's my thing will work. Lose 1 force for each battle down you control that related to a system. So he didn't get a ping here. He deployed Admiral Piet for 2 less force last turn, or this turn was it? Yeah, he spent like 6 force and a card on Piet to deploy him. And that was a pretty wild Destiny draw. What, he went 7/7? And wait, what? Sorry, I was probably battling. What happened here with the Padme? So, all right, so Padme was excluded. Okay, because he wanted to be able to lose Rey and keep Padme around for a counter beat. Okay, that's another decision that Ketwol had to make. All right, so now, but did Kieran lose a chance or lose an opportunity to activate the Force? But maybe he knew what cards were there and wanted to draw the 7s. Because he could have activated Force, but I can't believe he's gone to be able to afford to pay for Lando's retrieval. But maybe he didn't want to mess with the Destiny. We already discussed misplaced. Gotta be. Why did he move Leia? Yeah. Luke should probably be out at the farm. So Kieran might need his Hujix here. Lando, I guess he'll soak 7 +1 to the Battle Destiny. So he'll do 14 plus what he draws versus 12 plus 2 draws for Joe. Yeah. We'll see what happens there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Master Luke's game text with Blizzard 4 against any of these Imperial 3. As Kieran asks, any reason I can't play Return of a Jedi V? Yes, the first line of the card. Step 1, when something doesn't do what you think it's supposed to do, read the card. Sometimes we take the obvious thing and we don't think about it. We think there's some complex rule thing, but yeah. So I guess that's technically a misplay that maybe Kieran was banking on drawing a second Destiny here. But he also has maybe benefited a little bit by having 2 Jedi Masters over here, because he then has 2 cards to peek with and taking a choice of 1. So yeah, Kieran acknowledges that the card isn't doing what he expected to do for a good reason. Cards in Joe's reserve deck. He's got 1 left now. I don't know. Sorry, Bill. I'm not sure exactly when you asked that, but all right. So Master Kenobi's going to add. So he's going to do the activate, which then enables him to add. Good synergy there. A lot of times in this Master Kenobi deck before, you'd be like, I want 1 more card in my force pile. And then Joe's going to draw 5, so he can't take advantage of the 2 Destiny from Veers. So whatever I was doing, mathing that out before, I guess I was not looking at how many are in reserve. So maybe that's why Bill asked the question. I see. All right, so he draws Rey. He can't activate, or he can't add because he already activated. So no overflow here. It's just going to be Lando dies. And this is where I think Kieran's gonna, every force is gonna matter here. He really should have moved Master Luke outside. So now we'll see what Joe does. No more battling this turn. Kieran's definitely gonna get through, what, 4 damage? Which, if you kind of think about it, maybe that's Joe's hand. So then he's got 12 and Kieran has 14. So this is going to be pretty close down to the wire. Both players are within a couple minutes of each other in time. Plenty of time left. Yeah, I'm happy people playing. Return of a Jedi V. Alright, so Tarkin moves outside and he just draws a card. So I wonder, maybe, I don't know, it's tough to kind of plan out every part of the turn. I wonder if Joe's thinking, maybe I wish I left one more in my reserve decks, possibly at least force the Hujix out from Lando. But now he just draws everything. No need to save a force for Stalker, because that's only once per game. And we'll see what Kieran does on this turn. Still have a 0, a 3, and a 5, so Joe can do any one of the 3 functions if a battle's initiated, but not if it's initiated here with these Star Destroyers, because there's no Imperial leader there. But of course, Kieran would have to move there first, and Joe would have to neglect to reinforce. But lots of ship docking in this deck, probably. Moving pilots from Star Destroyer to Star Destroyer. Yeah, Kieran definitely should swap Luke and Leia. All right, Joe's losing off the top, so he must really like the 6 cards he has in hand. Maybe he's got a bunch of used interrupts. See if now he's got an opportunity to lose 2 more. Let's see if he top decks or loses from hand. Second copy of Tarkin. And command, which he's going to have a hard time playing because he's going to just pay 3 for it. Plus, he might not really need it. I don't know how many more space battles we're going to have here. Leia's going to drain for 1. Maybe Kieran has another handle, but I can't grab it. Joe doesn't have a force to grab any interrupt that Kieran might play here. Just thinking about what to lose here. Probably doing some math on if I lose this, am I able to do this on my turn? Thinking about this one. Just a reminder, if you haven't already join the V21 release party event on GEMP. It's 15 GEMP gold. If you play 8 games, you get a Luke Skywalker VAI with him in the pilot's seat, which is pretty cool. Great artwork on that. Joe loses the Git combo. We've had a few things kind of run their course now with the donations program, with Online Play Week, with U.S. Nationals pre-registration. So I was kind of thinking today of what makes the most sense to have as the GEMP message of the day, but it probably should be, join that league. There's still, 24 days or so to get 8 games in, and if you play up to 12, you get eligible for some more participation prizes. And then, of course, there's performance incentives as well. Kind of interesting because there was only, 6 new cards that came out, so it was a little, to be honest, a little more of an excuse to give away that card, which is really, really awesome. And I don't think the meta is going to be terribly different. I think a lot of people have been jumping into the Master Kenobi with the Helper. I've seen a lot of that played, so I think some people are like, the event is about the V21 subset. Let me play some of the new cards. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. All right, so in Kieran's deploy phase. Move phase for Kieran. Anakin's going to shuttle down? Let's see. Maybe the plan here for Kieran is just keep running away in space. Oh, there's the gravity shadow. Okay. We talked about it. Oh, and Kieran has they're tracking us, V, so well played there. Do we already come in how find Jared? Yeah, my beard is, thank you. Thank you, show. Appreciate it. All right, so Han Chewie the Falcon evades it. So that's 2 space tricks that did not work for Joe this game. With the Ival R2, he drew a 1. And with the gravity shadow getting canceled by their tracking us, I wonder how, would it surprise me if Kieran had that like in his opening hand and has just been holding it all game. And Kieran's going to draw a couple here. I'd be careful because I think Joe is really, really good at this, where he might just be like, look, I don't think it's going to get any better. I might draw up. But at the same time, he is chipping away still, so he'll get 3 damage through. Maybe he'll just say, hey, I'm going to get my 3 damage in. You know, I'm sure he's assuming that Kieran has a couple used interrupts in his hand, so maybe not this turn 8, which makes me laugh because random tangent, but thanks to Adam Fletcher for doing the stats for the retro event. So the first retro event of the Retro League was Premier to Hoth, and there was one game that apparently I streamed that was 22 turns long. But the other thing, I think the average game is like 42, 45 minutes, something like that. So there's just so many more turns then, because I think the first like 5 turns are basically draw, drop location, draw. Whereas our open game now, it's like if you get to 11 turns, like that's pretty wild. And usually I think by like I was saying this last night when I was talking to John, which I'll plug that in a minute, but usually by turn like 6, it's kind of, I shouldn't say usually, I would say maybe like 70% of the time, maybe 75% of the time by turn 6, you know who's going to win. Maybe someone in chat can argue with that, but I would say that like 75% of the time by turn 6, you know who's going to win. But yeah, I did an interview last night, kind of a retro spotlight series that we're going to try to do. So that's on the YouTube channel. It was really interesting. And it looked like one of the players that John used to play with in Florida actually responded on the. He was referenced in the stream, and he said, hey, "Shout out, it's Gerald here." And I was like, "That's really cool that we do this type of stuff and people acknowledge it." He's he's probably subscribing to the YouTube channel and sees his old friend interviewed. So that was cool. That was a cool thing. All right, so Kieran tosses the Return of the Jedi from hand, since he can no longer play it, as we said, unless a Jedi Master Communing, very first line. And then, yep, that's my card. Kieran loses the Master Luke, probably that he plucked off of the Sand card from hand, Nestler from hand, so he's just, trying to maximize his diff here. Contrary to what I was maybe saying would happen, Joe is definitely not drawing up this turn. He can keep chipping away at Kieran. Let's see what happens here. This might be tough for me to do game 2, though, so part of me is kind of hoping, oh, there's Mara with a lightsaber. Might be tough for me to do game 2 here, especially if it's going to be another hour-and-a-half one. So I probably should mention that in case anyone else wants to jump on. But if not the end of the world. We can you always get a replay and stream it later. All right, we get the battle here. Quite a mercenary is revealed, so that'll give 3 plus power for Dark. Kieran still hasn't used that Hujix, right? So I guess shuttling Anakin down was basically blocked a drain, forced Joe to dedicate some cards to... Alright, so Kieran's going to grab that used interrupt. That's the one that adds, I believe. Or no, that's Pincer add. Oh no, this is the one that adds. It's Destiny 5. Pincer like adds to hyperspeed or something, right? So if we can't get someone else, I should have mentioned this sooner. We could always, yeah, like I said, grab a replay, do it, maybe even 3-4 hours from now, that type of thing. All right, so +3 power. So this looks like Kieran's going to need a Hujix. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe someone in the chat. I don't think he used one yet, right? What is life count? Yeah, it's Joe's at 9, Kieran's at 7. So they're dead even in terms of hand and life. It's 10 to 10. But looks like Kieran's going to be tossing a Hujix here. Kieran draws a 7. It comes to 8 because of Anakin. He can then add 1. So all that, and he could peel 3 if he doesn't have the Hujix. But I'm pretty sure he has one, right? Did he have to burn it with Lando? No, Lando, the battle was like 17 to 10. Yeah, there it is. Okay, all right, so I'm not crazy. And I've been somewhat doing a good job of following the action. All right, so Anakin's gone. Joe's going to have to probably move. Well, I shouldn't say have to. But he's probably going to move one of those Star Destroyers to reinforce against Kieran's 2 ships. Or is he going to just I guess there's not much of a benefit for him to try to get rid of Jyn on this turn. Might be better for him actually to have more, potentially swing for 2 Destiny, potentially overflow Jyn if kind of things work out. Maybe by a couple. All right, so Ozzel goes down and embarks. It's interesting. Every force matters here, so in terms of like moving stuff around, and then he's going to move Stalker to reinforce. All right, so now Joe's threatening 1/1/1 with his drains. If Kieran runs, he can block. Maybe he just moves and splits his ships. We'll see what happens here. Yeah, maybe, I wonder if he splits his ships. Puts like the transport at Lethal. Puts Han Chewie against Chimera, because Joe's not drawing Destiny, but if Joe has any type of pilot, that might be bad. But then he's also going to be giving up a drain of 2 plus a ping at Kashyyyk, so that would be what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if Kieran moves his ships together, which would be a lot. All right, so yeah, so again, he's only draining for 3 here at these 2 Tatooine sites when it probably should be 4. And this is what, the second turn of this? Maybe the third? I think it's by the second. So yeah, like 2 more damage here would be huge. Really kind of handcuffs Joe on what he can do exactly in terms of drawing Destiny, moving cards around, force for battle. Yeah, I don't know what the Anakin thing did. There was no way he was going to like kick Joe off the site to put battle plan in order. That was never going to happen. He blocked the drain, but then he had to burn the Hujix. So, I don't know in retrospect if he would do that again. All right, so he's got Cassian, but he can't... Oh, but Joe can't use the Thrawn text because it's not an Imperial leader. So this might be overflow, because he can cancel the Destiny, right? And he can add 1 to a Destiny. So right there, Mara would cover. So basically, whatever Kieran draws for Destiny here is going to be the overflow number, unless Joe has a Gik in hand. But we saw he already lost 1 Gik combo for sure. So this might be game right here. I doubt like Joe has like a sniper or something. But it probably wouldn't be worth the... Well, maybe it would be. But I really, really, really doubt that he's got a sniper and Dark Strike combo. And there's that Prince Yuzor again. So he has been drawn twice, and he misses by drawing, what, a 2 and a 1? Oh, and of course, not 2 and 1, good old Obi-Wan's Hut. Subtracts from EPP Weapon Destiny, which at the beginning of this game, we probably thought that wasn't going to come into play. because not a lot of weapons, but probably the EPP Mara and EPP Vader are possible. You can deploy Vader in this deck, right? Or can you not? Chirnu? Yeah. Once per turn. Yeah, it took off that restriction. I don't know. Vader was always allowed, I think, right? But other admirals were what opened up. Wow. So he draws the Bionic Hand, 8. This is going to get canceled, so this is going to be 7 overflow, which is exactly how much Joe has left. So unless that card is a Gick, this is good game, and Kieran wins by 8. And moment of truth here. And, yep, all right, so Joe's peeling, so that's game. All right, so congratulations to Kieran for winning game 1 by 8. Yeah, lots of very good plays in this game. 2 excellent players. So we'll see now if they're playing game 2. It looks like James Martin may be able to help us out and cover game 2. But we'll find out if they're doing it. 5-minute break, and then the second one from Kieran. Let's see if Joe agrees. I know they had anticipated, or Joe anticipated playing at 1 p.m. Eastern post daylight savings, but all right, so Joe says yes. So all right, so we're gonna need James to do it. So I'm gonna end the stream, but James's channel is different, but he auto hosts to the PC channel. So if you just stay tuned here, that game should come in. So that gives us a little bit of time to get set up with James. 8:25 to 31 and lost. Okay. All right. So thanks everyone for joining, and make sure you tune back in here. Like I said, it'll be on the Twitch channel SWCCGPC, and that'll be auto hosted from James's personal channel. All right, everyone, take care.
Alrighty. Let's see here. Let me just make sure that everything's working because I'm not on Twitch that often, and that seems to be the case. So, I will now post everything here for people. So we are hoping to stream the second game of Kieran versus Joe. Kieran just won game 1 by 8. I didn't get a count of lost piles, but I'll bug some people to get that information for people. And now let me just post the link here. Going live to game 2. Alrighty, and people will also be able to get here via the auto host functionality as well. Sweet. Okay, so hopefully everybody can hear me and whatnot. And thanks again for tuning in. We just saw from Jared's channel that Joe lost to Kieran. Joe played Thrawn, a really cool objective, and Kieran was playing a Obimunning with the new cards there. So I think while we're waiting for people to kind of, I think they're taking a 5-minute break here. But thanks for telling me that you can hear me, Adam, Echo Base Trooper, our technology advocate there. So, and looks like they're loading up right now. So let me hop in the game. Alrighty. So again, Joe played Thrawn, and Kieran played the new Obimunning, and we'll see what they choose here for the run back. And so ROPS versus looks like Yodamunning here. And so Joe is deploying all of his lovely effects here. So while I have people, I think we mentioned it on Jared's stream, but just to let everybody know, the U.S. Nationals are upcoming from March 31st to April 2nd. So in a couple weeks, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Great time to play Star Wars with the new cards kind of coming out, and be a great venue. Played there. The U.S. Nationals was in Minnesota last year as well. So if you have any information, or if you want any information on U.S. Nationals, I'll just post it here on the link here. So U.S. Nationals upcoming March 31 to April 2nd. And this is the link to the forum that'll have all of your cool stuff that you need in order to get there. Venue, hotel links, how to submit deck lists, all that cool stuff. So while we're here and just kind of watching the Masters play their first couple turns, we will I figure that would be a good PSA to give here. Alrighty, so awesome. Typical setup for Joe here, getting out his sights, getting out his system Ariadu, which I don't think until I watched some of these streams I exactly knew how to pronounce. Cool virtual card that was updated there. So Kieran won game 1 by 8, so Joe's going to need a better that with his ROPS deck here. Unfortunately, ROPS, I think, is one of those decks. Well, I guess you could always get overflow and whatnot, but it puts out a lot of cards here, so might be a tight squeeze. Chris Gogolin is asking which one's Brian Fred. I think Brian Fred had I think it was Kieran that had that infamous Gakuen Bay attack that Brian Fred kind of conceded in turn 2 for the Outrider Cup. So just a little anecdote about him, whatnot. But I think that was kind of an infamous game there, or maybe it was Silver Glen. I might be confusing people. Stream title, yeah. See, I'm a noob when it comes to doing that, so let's see if I can update really quick. I always do that, don't I? That is one thing that I need to adjust. So, I'm going to update that SWCC. Thanks, Golan. I am certainly a little bit of a rookie when the stream titles, or a little bit of a rookie when it comes to casting here. So appreciate the update there. So yep, updated the GEMPC here, GEMPC 6 here. Actually had the fortune of playing Mike Festone in the GEMPC round 1, and the winner of that had the luxury of playing J Olson afterwards. And so after a couple games, of course, when I lost, I'm awful at match play. It seems like Mike had the luxury of playing Joe here. And of course, obviously, Joe moved on with his continued advancement to this round here. So really cool. The keep on thinking it's Recoil and Fear is what was played there from Kieran to kind of reshuffle decks, which is really cool. Endor Shield was used to kind of like pull admirals, and it kind of reshuffled everything in Joe's hand. So that may set him back, depending on exactly what he had to put back and what he had to what he wound up getting back into his hand here. I don't think Joe's used his admiral pulls, which is kind of nice here. I just thought Recoil and Fear was canceled first turn, but you can see there on the starting effects, it's the end of first turn. And yeah, I did have that messed up. Joe is the light side player here, so he was the one that actually played the Recoil and Fear. But I think that Kieran has gone through and uses Admiral Pulls, which is kind of nice and fortuitous on his end. So in game two, Kieran won by 8. Had a beatdown to kind of end the game there a little bit quicker and save a couple cards and so forth. So we've got Luke Skywalker, the Last Jedi, who is a tank, immune nutrition, kind of has an ability to uh, cancel an opponent's gesture on destiny and cause a redraw. He's hanging out at the Tatooine Cantina, same one that you played with and maybe pulled back in 95, 96, which is kind of cool. Yeah, sure, go for it. So let's see here. Triple on turn 2. Joe's got 13 force, activating 16. Let's see if he wants to go for a quick flip here. Sometimes leaves you open for a beatdown. Instead, he looks like he's going to the Cantina. Quite a few Imperials head down. Third Sister, which was a fairly recently printed card. It's like Kieran already has it foiled, which is kind of cool. And then obviously Grand Moff Tarkin, and then we've got the Admiral General Grand Admiral Thrawn there. So maybe a command here would allow him to get 3 Destiny here. Thanks, Drew. I'm not so sure I'm that handsome looking. But, I appreciate the compliment there. I try to keep my streams kind of low key and to the point if I can. Maybe one of these days I'll look to kind of branch out and see what I can do. Low draws. Nobody likes low draws when you are in battle, right? There's only a couple things that low draws are good for. There's one and another one. So that will not hit Mr. Grand Moff Tarkin there. And there's the command. I do have a beard. I'll probably need to get on the Hall of Theater kind of somewhat soon. It's been a while since I've been on that Dan's lovely show that airs Tuesday evenings now. Talks all things Star Wars CCG. So fun show. Haven't seen it that much. Actually, Garrett, I feel like, has been on a good chunk with Dan in terms of streaming as well as Holo Theater. It's certainly worth a watch. So a bunch of canceling draws. Grand Moff Tarkin can cancel any draw less than 4 or once per battle, which is kind of cool. And looks like Kieran stacks some 6s here, which is really nice. Right, not that he had an opportunity to do so, but wow, 3 lightsabers in a row. That is not what Joe wanted to see here. I feel like that's happened a lot of times. I've played like combat decks, where you have like every other set, card of 7. You'll draw sometimes, 7, 7, 7, and sometimes you'll just draw 1, 1, 1. So 23 battle damage here for Joe. So let's see what he is looking to do here. And it's a quick one, GG. So I don't really have too much time here to even kind of set the mood and whatnot, because the game looks like it's over. Karen's advancing here. And I'll just take a quick look at the bracket, all things considered, to show where things are rolling next. So Karen's moving on. And if I head up the bracket here, which I should have probably had open earlier, but I was hoping that this game would last a little bit longer than it did. We got now Cannon. So Rebel Spy has just been knocked out. Kieran will be moving on to, and this is match 97 here, so it's a lot that we've played already. So he'll take on the winner of Mike Kessling and Greg Shaw. So Mike Kessling and Greg Shaw will be the one that's playing Kieran. Kieran, who placed second at Worlds not too long ago. He's having a nice run in the tournament here. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I'm sorry it was just a quick 15-minute stream here, and nothing more. But really good job of Kieran to kind of start putting the stuff down and really push through damage. I think Joe was not expecting that many cards coming down so quickly. Also was kind of fortuitous that the Destinies worked out the way that they did. And I don't know, maybe Joe felt like he needed to play a little aggressively to kind of make up the percentage here, or the card difference. But anyway, thank you all for watching. All the best. Enjoy the rest of the coverage for the GEMPC. Reminder, Nationals is coming up in 2 weeks. Lots of good stuff going on between the V21 set party, which is just the GEMP League. You can join on play.starwarsccg.org. And then upcoming down the road, we'll have the retro event, which is premiere through special edition. That's something that you can the signups for that should be fairly imminent here. So anyway, a lot of stuff going on. Check out our Twitter at SWCCG to keep updated with all the news and notes as you kind of come along, and then check out the PC's Twitch channel as well on Tuesdays. That'll keep you updated with their Holo Theater program. All the best, everyone. Take care.